This is going to be disappointing to some people, but you probably shouldn't quit your job right now. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why. Hi everybody, it's Brian from A Life After Layoff, and today I want to talk about why it might not be the best time to quit your job. One of the most common reasons why people come to me for one-on-one career coaching is to try to get clarity on their current job situation. And oftentimes it'll be somebody that has a problem with their boss. Maybe they're not really feeling well aligned, they're not feeling like they're respected. Maybe it's even what they consider to be a toxic situation, or it could be that they're underpaid or feeling like the work that they're doing is not really all that fulfilling. And inevitably, I do disappoint a certain percentage of them when I suggest that quitting is actually not in their best interest, especially in today's job market. And I want to discuss some of the reasons why. But before we get into that, if you're interested in more career content just like this directly from a corporate recruiter, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and you may also want to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content. The bottom line is that the job market just isn't really that good right now. And that's the main reason why you shouldn't quit your job unless you absolutely need to. Because a lot of people who have quit their jobs end up finding out kind of the hard way that replacing their job is very difficult and they're not able to do it very quickly. And in some cases, people who used to not have any problem getting the phone to ring are finding that nobody's contacting them. They can't even get a first round interview, and they're reasonably marketable people with good backgrounds and pedigree. The fact of the matter is that the job market's extremely competitive right now, and it's not unusual for companies to get thousands of candidates for a single job. And this has been especially amplified for those highly coveted roles, like those remote positions and even hybrid positions are under attack right now. It's becoming increasingly rare that a company is remote first. So what's happening is they'll publish a job and you get this feeding frenzy of people that comes in, and now you're competing with double and even triple what you might have just even a few short years ago. And I think a lot of people, and in particular those who haven't been in an active job search for the last couple of years, are finding out that the job market is very different than it was in 2021 and even through most of 2022. It was the heyday for job seekers, and companies were just throwing money left and right to recruit talent because they couldn't hire people fast enough. So what ended up happening is you had a lot of people at this time deciding to chase after the tech boom, so they rebranded themselves as software developers and technical roles all during this period of 2021 to 2022. And if you were somebody that was on the later side of that boom, you may have finally rebranded in late 2022 and into 2023 after finishing up all your schooling and all the training that you needed. The problem is that that's exactly when the bottom fell out from underneath the tech market, and all these jobs, these huge job offers, all dried up seemingly overnight. So now you have this glut of people who has rebranded away from their original career path, and now they're struggling to get jobs. So if you're somebody that participated in the Great Resignation and you were fortunate enough to get a job before the market crashed, you may not realize the actual climate of the market today. Now, this isn't just in the tech industry. Other industries have also been affected by this as well, but the tech industry is probably the best example of it. But now we're seeing more and more companies forcing people back to the office through these remote mandates. And a lot of people that participated in the Great Resignation ended up taking these remote jobs under the premise that that's going to be their new work life. And that seems to have dried up and changed very quickly. So now you've got these people who are saying, you know what, I'm being forced back into the office, or you know what, I don't want to do the hybrid role anymore, so I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go off and find a new role. And guess what? They find that their phone is not ringing anywhere near as frequently as it was just a couple short years ago. And it does look like we're seeing more and more signs of an economic cool down if we're not already in one already. And running parallel to that, we're seeing less and less of these really lucrative job offers as companies start to reset salaries. And that doesn't bode well for the person who is looking to jump ship to try to find a salary increase somewhere else. And unfortunately, what we've seen is that a lot of people who participated in the Great Resignation are now feeling stuck in place, or they may actually be regretting their decision. And there's actually a new phenomenon called the Great Regret, where people have made these decisions and said, uh-oh, I probably made a huge mistake. And I realize that there's a sense of grass is always greener. And I do talk on this channel about how you shouldn't tolerate poor employers and how you should reclaim control in your career. But quitting your job as the first option is rarely the right answer, and we have to do it more strategically. This is not to say that if you are somebody who is dealing with a truly toxic situation, and I use emphasize the word truly because I do feel like a lot of times we throw around this term of toxic really loosely, where everybody's in a toxic workplace, everybody's got toxic bosses, but I'm talking about truly in a toxic situation where you are asked to do something illegal, or you are asked to do something that goes against your ethics, or in a situation where you have bona fide harassment or hostile work environment. In those cases, you probably should make the move to find a different employer, but you have to go in eyes wide open. Again, the labor market is not the same as it was just a few short years ago, and people who had very solid backgrounds are finding that they are just not getting the phone to ring. And there's a lot of people who are regretting their decision to just up and quit their jobs. So my recommendation would be, if you're gainfully employed today, is to buckle down a little bit right now and work on getting your resume to really shine the way it needs to for the open market, so that you don't have a problem competing with thousands of other candidates, that you'll have no issue getting noticed. And make sure that you're jumping for the right opportunity, and not just because this new company might pay you a few extra $1,000 or your boss talked to you in a way that you don't like. Because I think over the next few months in particular, stability and finding a job and or an industry that has a degree of growth and strength is going to be the most important thing. Now, I know this isn't the news that some people probably want to hear, but if we want to act like the CEO of our career, we have to start making smart decisions and not just knee-jerk reactions. And the smart decision in this case may be to buckle down and wait for the perfect opportunity. Don't just go quitting your job thinking that you're going to be able to land another one quickly, because that's just not the reality for a lot of people today. Anyway, if you're wondering if you should quit your job, I made another video that tells some of the telltale signs to look for that, yeah, this is actually in my best interest to get out. But for a lot of us, and I would say for a majority of the people that contact me saying, I want to quit my job, the recommendation right now is you have to be really careful. But if you're somebody that's made up your mind and you want to test the open waters, but you're just not having much luck, that's actually something that I specialize in. I do have a website called alifeafterlayoff.com, which helps you navigate the employment waters more effectively. And I share my deepest and most intimate knowledge in the form of some training courses regarding how to write resumes strategically that get recruiters to actually start taking notice. You can actually start getting those phone calls for those coveted roles, but also how to approach your job search strategically, and then how to get through each round of the interviewing process. And then, of course, how to leverage targeted networking through the power of LinkedIn, which is a game changer if you're not leveraging it correctly. So you can ultimately skip the recruiter altogether, and that's the preferable method. But of course, you need to know what you're doing in your career, and most people wing it. It's like shocking the number of people who have no strategy at all. And if you don't have strategy, I would not recommend you quit a job until you know exactly what it is that you're doing. And I created a course called The Ultimate Career Blueprint to give you the framework so that you can make the best decisions, because you're never going to be able to act like the CEO of your career if you don't know what you're doing. So check that out if you feel like you need more help there. Anyway, I'll continue to watch the job market very closely. So if you want to make sure that you're keeping up on the latest, hit the subscribe button. As always, appreciate you watching. We'll see you on the next one.